So we know the deal. The sky is falling in Tuscaloosa. Bama lost to Ole Miss for a second consecutive year, and Alabama is actually ranked outside of the top 10 for the first time in seemingly forever. But there is a season to play in the SEC, and I believe the same thing happened last year when Bama traveled to Oxford to take on the Rebels, and things turned out very well in the SEC. We bring in Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama to talk about the Tide. And Stephen, you were in the stadium. Can you give us some thoughts about? Really, I want two reactions from you here, Stephen. One would be the after the game feel of the people leaving the stadium, exiting the stadium, just kind of the mood and the vibe in the stadium, and then also that crazy play that went all the way down the field on the deflection when the sack was just, that close to happening, and then it was going the other way for the score, and how that deflated things as well.
The first one with the fans leaving, Alabama fans aren't used to seeing a team play from behind, let's be honest. It's used to seeing a team blow opponents out by 50, or used to seeing a team just be tremendously dominant. It's not used to seeing Alabama down, especially inside Bryant-Denny, in which this team was protecting a 17-game home winning streak. So quite naturally, when a game is set to kick off at 8:15 p.m., and it's about 11 p.m. as you're watching this, and your team is down by 20 points or so, you're going to have some ticked-off fans. And the vibe there was, Alabama's not winning, so why am I here? Saban, the offense looks inept. Why am I here? The defense, the secondary seems to be still giving up plays. Why am I here? And though there are times that you want the fan base to be responsible and play for 4, stay for 4, when the team is down by 20 points or so, you get the fans that leave regardless of the situation. Now, going back to the play itself, the incredible ricochet, the strength of Chad Kelly to avoid a sack, throw the ball up in the air on 3rd and 2. It bounces off the helmet of Minka Patrick, and hello, Quincy Adeboyejo, where did you come from? Kid comes out of nowhere, catches the ball out the doink, and goes 75 yards or so for a touchdown. And when that play happened, you got fans with their hands on their heads going, is this some Auburn fluke luck, or what in the world is going on? You had folks blaming politics. You had folks blaming Auburn. You had folks saying there's a ghost on the field. I mean, there was blame to be passed along on that play, but you got to give Chad Kelly a lot of credit for his strength, because he's able to somehow keep his arm elevated while Jonathan Allen's draped around him and find some type of way to let go of the football. And just an unfortunate on behalf of Marlon Humphrey, as the ball bounces right off his helmet. He's trying to knock it down. It bounces right off his helmet into the arms of Quincy Adeboyejo, playing the role of Ricardo Lewis of Auburn, catches the ricochet and goes 75 yards for a touchdown. So on the fans leaving, it's a sense of they're not used to seeing Alabama down by 20 plus at home. And on the ricochet, it's what a play. Alabama was in position, just couldn't do much about it. Great job by Chad Kelly avoiding the sack.
I'm trying to remember what the score was, Stephen, at the time. Was Ole Miss up like 17-10? That made it 24-10?
That made it 24-10. Yes, it did.
Okay. So, Chad Kelly, I agree with the analysis. It's an incredibly athletic play while he's almost on his back, and he has 2 Alabama defenders wrapped him up, that he has that much arm strength to direct it in that direction. And it was an ugly pass. Of course, it's going to be ugly with 600 pounds draped on your body. But he got the football out, and obviously it turned out. If that were a 4th down play, I can understand the thinking. But as a 3rd down play, it was actually a stupid play to make. But it turned out for Ole Miss. I want to get to the Cooper Bateman situation. He, of course, starts ineffective in regards to scoring points, but he did go 11 of 14, 87 yards through the one somewhat key interception. Just your thoughts. We heard Nick Saban say today that they wanted to take advantage of his mobility and his skill set. Your thoughts about that move and whether you think Bateman should have started the game?
I can see where Saban was coming from in a sense of wanting to get Bateman's mobility on the field a lot more mobile than Coker, though Bateman not as athletic as Blake Sims was. When I watched Bateman, he completed his first 8 of 9 passes, and all 8 of those completions were a variety of dink and dunk, some 5-yard completions, some 8-yard completions, a couple of 10-yard completions, just getting him comfortable and in the mindset of the actual game itself. The first long-range bomb that Kiffin dialed up that was poorly underthrown, though Bateman was under duress as he got the ball away, that was intercepted by Trey Elston. You kind of look at not just Cooper Bateman and making the throw, but also Lane Kiffin on the play call. I understand he wants to give his quarterback some confidence, and I understand the resume of Lane Kiffin, you know, being that quarterback wizard, whisperer, whatever adjective you want to throw in there, being able to guide the likes of Matt Leinart and John David Booty and Matt Barkley and Jonathan Crumpton, and of course Blake Sims last year. But when you're trying to get a quarterback comfortable in a football game, you have to game plan to what he's comfortable with. Cooper Bateman, this was his first actual start as a redshirt sophomore, still young. So when you're game planning, if this guy is more comfortable with short to intermediate, dink and dunk until the big play opens. Kiffin tried the long-range bomb there, did not go well as he would have liked for it to go. Going into Coker, I feel like Jake Coker, in my opinion, should have started because of his ability to make the long passes. And he was going back even to the Wisconsin game. He had established some chemistry, some rhythm, some momentum in that offense. And despite Saban wanting to see what Bateman's skill set could do, the team, when you saw Coker go in that game down 17-3, you saw how the team was able to function better with Coker in there. Richard Mulaney had the chemistry with Coker. Robert Foster, prior to him going down, had the repertoire with Coker. Even the offensive line started to flex some muscle there in that second half with Coker either under center or in the shotgun. So I feel like Coker should have started because of the rapport that he has with that team and his ability to gut it out and make the throws necessary. But where Saban was concerned, he wanted to see Bateman's skill set. He wanted to see Bateman's mobility on that edge, on naked bootlegs and rollouts, kind of put pressure on Ole Miss. And to answer that, it was effective in the short to intermediate, but Bateman, his ability to read coverage and dissect, he put the ball on those crossing routes and those developing plays, still a bit need to work on.
What's ironic, Stephen, is that Coker came into the game, and in addition to his passing skills, and I know he missed 24 throws, he had a few drops in there, is that he made a lot of really strong plays with his feet. He eluded pass rushes. He converted third downs with his legs. He made some very nifty moves in the open field, shed some would-be tacklers, and he made some big plays with his legs.
He really did. I mean, Jake Coker, not known for his mobility, the guy averaged 8.3 yards a carry. Hello, he averaged more than Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry's the actual running back. Jake Coker even scored a touchdown, 7 carries for 60 yards. Did a very good job keeping the play alive. And something that not many people know, Jake Coker played with the flu. He had a temperature of 104 degrees. He was getting IV done. He was on the sideline with the breather mask on for much of that game after possession. So this guy not up to 100%, taking shots, but putting that 6'5", 232-pound frame on the line for that team each possession he was out there. So Jake Coker gutted it out by all means necessary. He gutted it out. He showed some leadership, and there were moments in that game where I myself thought, man, this kid can play. man, you tweak some accuracy, you tweak some decision making, you tweak some ball placement, and you might have something here, because he's got the toughness, he's got the leadership, he's got the arm cannon, but you tweak some mechanical things and you probably have something. Because for him to go out there, he wasn't given the nod to start. Any other quarterback would have probably thrown in the towel and said, the heck with it, forget it, coach isn't starting me. The fact that he goes out there and still puts himself on the line. Cooper Bateman puts up 3 points. Jake Coker registers 34 and doesn't even start. You tweak up some mechanic things, Alabama could have something.
I totally agree. And on top of all that, again, he showed us elusiveness and the ability to run. Now, he's not going to be a threat to the defense, but if the play breaks down and he's got any kind of a lane, he was making guys miss in the open field. So maybe that's an element there that, again, he's not going to be a weapon, but he can pick up maybe some key third down conversions that way. Hey, Stephen, here's a player that, for as great as Amari Cooper is, I didn't think that they were going to miss him this much. And I really think that this offense misses Amari Cooper because he was always open.
Amari Cooper found a way to not just accelerate off the line of scrimmage, Mark, but his feel for the game. He was just instinctive of knowing where the defense is, knowing how the coverages would play him, whether it was bump and run, the defense was 5 yards off the football, how he was going to be played, how he was going to be covered, and still found ways to create separation, make himself available, whether it was taking the top off a defense or a hitch route or a slant and go. He found some way to make himself available in all facets of the game, and that's what Alabama misses the most about him. It has a talented crop of receivers that could make plays. Ardarius Stewart is one of them, just needs more consistency. Robert Foster, it hurts to see him out for the rest of the season with a torn rotator cuff in his right shoulder. Robert Foster, a guy that was a 5-star prospect coming out of Monica, Pennsylvania, Center Valley High School in Monica, Pennsylvania, a couple of years back in 2013, was a guy that was really starting to find his niche on offense and was really playing well prior to the injury last week. But Ardarius Stewart, Richard Mullaney, honestly, has become the Kevin Norwood that Alabama's had in the past. He's shown he can be that possession receiver, and boy, got some hops on him. Was able to hurdle over a guy and score a touchdown on a 9-yard variety from Jake Coker against Mississippi. So Richard Mullaney's the guy. Calvin Ridley, this is his moment to step up, the true freshman from Monarch High School, Coconut Creek, Florida. As I mentioned, 5-star prospect, a guy that's been tabbed to be Amari Cooper's long-term heir apparent, but an injury to Robert Foster can force him into the mainstream pretty early. I even look at guys like Chris Black, who came in a little bit more heralded than Amari Cooper, but an injury to Chris Black in 2012 sidelined him a bit. And now, with him being the redshirt junior, it's a lot of talent in one football. Can he find himself to work his way into the rotation? And then also Cam Sims, that big body at 6'5", finally healthy. He's going to get some opportunities this week. So it's finding the group of guys that can mesh with Jake Coker, that can have that timing with Jake Coker, working back to the football, flashing your body, creating ways to get open. And then also O.J. Howard at tight end. I mean, last year he only caught 17 passes in 2014. He's caught 8 to 9 passes this season. So it's being able to mesh with Coker, find ways to get open, create separation, and just attack the football.
So credit Ole Miss with a win, no question about that. At the same time, there are differences in wins and losses when you look at situations where one team was dominant. They were clearly the better team. They got the push off the line of scrimmage. Their line play was far superior, so forth and so on. Alabama had very much self-inflicted wounds. They had the crazy play that we talked about. They had the 2 fumbles on the kicks. Again, Ole Miss took advantage of those plays, and they were the better team on the night. Still, if Alabama doesn't fumble the ball away on those kicks, what happens in this game plan, as you well know, Stephen, is Bama doesn't have to throw it 59 times. I don't think it's in too many teams' game plans to throw it 59 times. Derrick Henry was effective on the ground, 23 for 127. If they don't get behind 2 or 3 scores, then Henry's still a factor in this game, and it's a completely different ball game.
Forget 59 times. If it's not for the 2 fumbled kicks, Alabama wouldn't throw it 39 times. Jake Coker would probably have 24 or 25 passes, period. But it's what happens when you turn the ball over to a good Ole Miss offense on a short field. You give them an opportunity to score and get up early and build that confidence for Chad Kelly. But 2 players for Ole Miss defensively, the Kimdichie boys ate. Let's just be honest. Robert and Denzel Kimdichie were chowing down on that Alabama offensive line. I remember one play distinctly where Robert misses the tackle, Denzel Kimdichie makes it, and the 2 brothers knock helmets, and they are just excited, just jawing at each other, laughing, button heads, excited, just to make plays together on that side of the football. Kendarius Webster had probably one of the better games I've seen him play at the cornerback position for Ole Miss. So defensively, offensively, Alabama can't turn the ball over, giving Ole Miss a short field to work with. But also for Alabama, play calling, you got to attack the teeth of the Ole Miss defense and not try to stretch it out wide, because these guys are not only big, but they're fast, Mark, and they dissect the flow of the football.
And we know the story with Robert Kimdichie. He comes in as the #1 ranked high school player coming out of high school, and he's been a very, very good player. He's typically double teamed. He's been very stout in the middle at D tackle, and he's ultra quick and fast for a D tackle for a 300-pound giant. But this is the first time in a huge game that he's made plays consistently in the backfield, just been a terror, been able to fight through the double teams, plus get after the ball carrier in a big game. Defensively, I'm just going to throw it out to you in regards to, on the surface, 43 points looks awful. It looks like a defensive breakdown. They still only gave up less than 3 yards per carry. And again, there were so many fluke plays that went against them. The Cody Core long play was not a fluke play, but it was a blown coverage on the would-be pass over the line that was not. It was a correct call by the official, but they were duped on that one. So you mentioned the short field on a number of plays. So the 43 points, very deceiving.
43 points, very deceiving. And I know a lot of people say it's not how you start, but how you finish. Sometimes how you start can create the way you finish. And going back to Ardarius Stewart, usually a sure-handed receiver, he doesn't fumble the kick. And if Kenyon Drake, in a game in which many people had prosed as his revenge game from last year, if he doesn't fumble a kick, who knows what happens? And even Cyrus Jones, Alabama's most seasoned corner, had trouble handling the ball on punt coverage. So special teams was basically cardiac arrest in the game Saturday night. I mean, if you want to talk about being aged by 40, 50 years, watch that special teams Saturday night, from the 2 to 3 fumbles to Adam Griffith nailing a field goal, Adam Griffith executing an onside kick. I mean, I'm sitting here reading tweets on social media, Mark, that go, Adam Griffith made a field goal? Everybody drinks on me. I mean, I'm sitting here reading tweets all over social media about, we can make a field goal now. Okay, I'm buying the sodas, or I'm buying whatever that's going to be drunk tonight. But special teams is an area that Alabama is going to have to clean up, because there are going to be some games this season with the schedule that it has that may come down to a field goal. There are going to be some games in which it's going to come down to flipping field position, being able to punt effectively. J.K. Scott has improved since week 1 of the season, but if you don't turn the ball over, you have a better chance of winning a football game. And the 2 fumbles to start really played a role in how the game unfolded. So I don't care if you're Alabama or if you're Middle Tennessee State or if you're Jacksonville State. You don't win a football game with 5 turnovers.
Stephen M. Smith joining us from Touchdown Alabama. So one last thing here, Stephen. Georgia's coming up in 2 weeks. The trip to Athens, we saw what the Bulldogs were able to do against South Carolina this past week. That offense looked awfully good. We know what they have at running back, and Grayson Lambert didn't let the ball hit the turf only once. So Louisiana Monroe's the opponent this week. That's a foregone conclusion in regards to an outcome. What do you want to see this week in regards to tightening things up?
Just consistency. And from head coach Nick Saban's press conference today, this team has a lot of positive energy, has a lot of leadership, but it needs to learn how to challenge it into the game for a full 4 quarters. Alabama's going to have to, offensive line, challenge the energy into consistently pass protection and run blocking. Ryan Kelly has been fantastic, but the other guys, along with Cam Robinson, pass protect efficiently, run block well, channel that energy into locking up on your guy, getting to the second level, making plays. The quarterback position, lock into a zone and play to your strengths. Jay Coker, survey the field, locate where the mismatches are, and place the ball on the hands of your guy. If your guy's not there, don't be afraid to check it down. Don't be afraid to run. Don't be afraid to throw the ball away. Protect yourself and your defense on top of that. In the receiving core, find a way to get open, create opportunities to allow your quarterback to find you in open space, to find you in the middle of the field, to create the big play opportunities. Defensively in the secondary, know where you are in relation to when that ball is in the air. When that receiver has his head turned around, turn yours around. That way you can see the football, face it, be physical, and play it. So it's consistency, but also channeling the energy that you have into being effective on the field.
He is Stephen M. Smith from Touchdown Alabama, and anytime I need to get a breakdown of the Tide, I know where to go. Stephen M., we appreciate the time, sir.
No problem, Mark. Are you kidding me? This is fun. I love doing this. Thank you for having me.